Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Shop online and get $30 off your first online order when you use code SAVE30 at checkout. Get the same prices, deals, and rewards as in-store. Get started at Safeway.com or the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
You don't often expect to hear the words police chase go hand in hand with the word cute. But there are not many other ways to describe the most unexpected repeat offender in the city of Durango, a kangaroo. This week, officers had to round up a red kangaroo after he hopped into a neighbor's yard. Last year, the same kangaroo escaped in just a diaper. Both times, the police returned the kangaroo back home to his owner. And in case you're wondering, yes, owning a red kangaroo is legal in Colorado. Who knew? I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. Coming up, it's been 5 years since George Floyd's death. Whatever happened to the Black Lives Matter movement?
I don't know where those people went.
Plus, one thing the BLM movement influenced is police reform in Aurora. Where does it stand now? Then, complications for Colorado's AI law, this time from the federal government.
Republicans in Congress are trying to put a federal, decade-long pause on states' ability to regulate AI.
And the cream of the crop from Colorado authors this year.
We have a really wide variety of books that I think anyone could pick up and find a new favorite.
It is Thursday, May 22nd. Here's the news in Colorado today. This Sunday marks the 5th anniversary of the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, which propelled the activist group Black Lives Matter into the limelight, including here in Colorado. 5 years on, we wanted to know, where is the movement now?
He did what?
That changed the world.
Daddy changed the world.
We all remember this moment. It seemed like change was on the horizon, and the Black Lives Matter movement was going to bring justice to a number of police-related deaths, including Elijah McClain, the 23-year-old black man from Aurora who months earlier had been aggressively stopped by police and given an oversized dose of ketamine. You may even have been among the massive crowds in 2020 that, for days on end, surrounded the state capitol.
No justice, no peace. Rise against the police.
One of the speakers at those rallies was Black Lives Matter activist and community organizer Candace Bailey.
That was the day I challenged 30,000 people to join Elijah McClain's movement, and seeing people reacting to something that had happened in our own backyard over and over and over again.
Bailey talked with us yesterday as the anniversary date approaches. She said Denver's Black Lives Matter group had formed years before 2020, and they worked on police reform and social justice cases. But nothing could prepare Bailey, nor the others, for the intense media spotlight.
There were lots and lots of people coming into the circle, nationally, internationally. I was recording on French television and German television and Japanese radio, and it was unbelievable that it took so much to get to a point where the world would begin to say something like Black Lives Matter. And I was highly upset because I didn't feel like I ever needed to tell someone that my Black life mattered.
Colorado responded to the protests by making changes to legislation on police accountability. The new law included rules for police body camera footage, guidelines on excessive force and police misconduct. But in the years since, the Black Lives Matter group has faltered, and cracks began to appear, according to Bailey.
Many of the people who were engaged in the Black Lives Matter movement were there for some of the very wrong reasons. And it's taken a lot of years for that to be exposed. You know, we were watching people buy houses and profit off the blood, sweat, and tears and hard work of people who really believed in liberation. And now it feels like I don't know where that movement went. I don't know where those people went. And there is an exhaustion that comes with leading masses of people to change and reform things, or maybe just destroy things to rebuild again better.
In 2020, Black Lives Matter was all over social media, the news, everywhere. Nowadays, it has faded into the background. Now, Bailey and other BLM activists are forging their own way forward, advocating for many of the same changes, but under different banners. It may not be Black Lives Matter anymore, but Bailey is still fighting.
I still fight for people who have been murdered by police, and it is not stopping anytime soon. Stand together. Stand together. Now is the time. We must stand together. We have individual fights and we have unified fights. It will take the very people who have profited and gained to step forward and say that is enough. And it will take all of us who have been under the heel to step up and say, this is enough. It will take all of us.
One lasting thing from the protest movement in 2020 and Black Lives Matter is that they helped bring about a promise from the Aurora Police Department to reform itself. After Elijah McClain died in police custody and people took to the streets, the state attorney general found a pattern of bias policing. It required Aurora Police to join an agreement called a consent decree, one that has outside oversight. A few times a year, the community gets an update on how it's going, and last Saturday was its most recent. The overseer said things are on track, even if it might not feel like it sometimes.
I fully understand that events like the Kylan Lewis shooting and the most recent officer-involved shooting continue to challenge public trust.
Jeff Schlanger is the lead independent monitor. He said more changes had to be implemented after the 2024 police killing of Kylan Lewis.
The consent decree was initiated in large part because of the tragedy. And sadly, it took another tragedy to bring about significant reform of SWAT operations, which were not specifically addressed in the consent decree. Following the tragic officer-involved shooting of Kylan Lewis, APD and its new permanent chief, Todd Chamberlain, took significant and proactive steps, reviewing SWAT operations from top to bottom.
What has come out of that over the past year, he said, is more training, more emphasis on using less lethal tactics, and more oversight on the SWAT team on each call. This adds to earlier changes to things like APD's recruiting and hiring and training. The consent decree is now in its fourth year of a 5-year agreement. Schlanger says the Aurora PD,
through SWAT reform and moreover through its ongoing movement towards substantial compliance with all the mandates of the consent decree, has shown a willingness to confront significant issues head on.
But several areas still need work. He said Aurora keeps getting better data than it had previously, on police stops, for example, but it still has a ways to go to be able to use the data to root out biases. The police chief himself added he needs a better way to figure out who's doing well and who's not within the police force before something goes really wrong. He did say that crime is down 22% in Aurora between April of last year and this April. Colorado's attempts to regulate artificial intelligence are getting even more complicated. In just over 9 months, companies and governments will have to comply with an anti-discrimination policy. The idea is to require disclosure and offer other protections for the use of AI systems in consequential decisions, like hirings and loans. But the business community opposes the law and is asking for a delay. And Republicans in Congress have proposed a 10-year moratorium on state AI regulations. CPR's Benta Birkeland is here to explain. Benta, what is Congress's interest in this and how could it affect Colorado?
A lot of moving parts here on this. But Republicans in Congress are trying to put a federal, decade-long pause on states' ability to regulate AI. So this would go into their big budget bill they've debated this week. Governor Jared Polis said he's actually okay with that. Even though he did sign Colorado's law, he's had a lot of reservations about it. He said, though, he would prefer a pause of 2 to 4 years, so there could be a national policy. The business community also supports a federal moratorium, but consumer rights advocates and labor groups say there needs to be guidelines much sooner than that. I talked to Democratic Representative Brianna Titone. She's one of the sponsors of Colorado's AI law, and she said a decade-long pause on state AI laws would be crazy.
Because I just can't even imagine what AI technology is going to be like in a year, never mind 10 years. I mean, that just blows my mind.
And even some tech industry people I talked to said they thought 10 years was also too long of a pause. But I don't think we'll ultimately see that happen. Senator John Hickenlooper's office told me they predict this moratorium will be stripped from the budget reconciliation bill in the Senate. That's because the Senate has a rule that says non-budget items can be removed. And the AI pause definitely seems like a policy question, not a budget decision.
Okay, and regardless of what Congress does, here in Colorado, there's a big push to delay this state law before it goes into effect. What's the update on that since the legislative session ended a couple weeks ago?
The tech industry and other business leaders want Polis to call a special session to bring lawmakers back to the Capitol to delay the February start date of this AI law. The state's largest universities and some school districts are also asking for that. They say the AI law is too vague, it's not workable, and they worry it will be too burdensome on what entities would have to know about the AI systems and what they'd have to disclose to the public. Polis is sympathetic there. He has concerns all along. He's worried it could stifle the tech industry and innovation and hurt jobs. But he says he won't call lawmakers back to the Capitol just to deal with AI. He said it would be part of any special session on something like the budget. That's if the federal government makes big cuts and puts our state budget out of whack. Polis said lawmakers would have to fix that. Meanwhile, consumer and labor groups, they want Colorado's AI regulations to take effect. And they feel that some members of the tech industry are emboldened at this moment in time and just trying to push back against any meaningful regulations or guardrails that would protect consumers.
CPR's Benta Berkland, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Did you read any books by a Colorado author last year? If so, there's a chance that they've just been selected as a finalist for the 34th Annual Colorado Book Awards.
The Blue Plate, a food lover's guide to climate chaos.
Company, liberation, inclusion, and the
Without
history of
exception,
gay rodeo.
reclaiming abortion, personhood, and freedom. By Pam Houston.
Cole and Layla are just friends. By Bethany Turner.
Valerie Eddy is the program's coordinator for a nonprofit that helps put on the awards.
We have a really wide variety of books that I think anyone could enjoy. Pick up and find a new favorite.
Each of the 14 categories will have its own book award winner and offers a huge opportunity for Colorado authors. Eddy's team partners with the Colorado State Library to promote the winners through author talk programs in different parts of the state. And even something a little juicier.
We do a book tasting kit for librarians to use to promote the book awards in their library and set up displays and do programming around.
This year's award feels special to Eddy. Colorado Humanities lost its operating grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. That funding comprises nearly 80% of the organization's budget.
This is kind of a harder year for us. So being able to still promote the book awards is great.
After finding additional funding sources, the show will go on. The winners will be revealed July 26 at the L.E. Calkins Opera House in Denver. And I know that's a little ways away, so if you're looking for things to do around Colorado this weekend, other than picking up a good book, of course, then maybe a live mashup of opera and electronic music. that is happening in Steamboat. You can check out that event and the full list of this week's Colorado Art Spotlight on the link in our show notes. Lauren Antonoff-Hart writes the Colorado Art Spotlight. Reporting for today's show also came from CPR's Joe Erickson and Tony Gorman. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you have a lead on where one can find a red kangaroo, share them with us. The email is in our show notes. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Shop online and get $30 off your first online order when you use code SAVE30 at checkout. Get the same prices, deals, and rewards as in-store. Get started at Safeway.com or the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.